Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the C.R. Lawrence, or Jackson, owned by C.R. Lawrence. This is a 670M-628. This is a center hung pivot for aluminum doors up to 125 pounds. The 620, that is the 670M, that's what that means, center hung for aluminum doors. The 628 is the finish. That's just a sprayed aluminum finish. There are several parts involved, and let's go through all of them now from the bottom up. But first, this is considered a walking beam type center hung top pivot. I'll go over that. That's a reference to this apparatus up here. You're going to get the top door arm with the nylon bushing. You're going to get the bottom door arm with the ball bearing race. That's in here, like a bearing packet. And you'll get the floor portion with a steel pin. Doors up to 125 pound is what this is rated for. Being center hung makes it non-handed. Designed for 1 3/4 thick aluminum storefront doors, again up to 125 pounds. There is a link below this video to what's called a product brochure, and that shows 4 common Jackson pivot sets. The aluminum the aluminum type center hung and offset, the wood or metal door type, both center hung and offset. Okay. Difference that you're going to have there is metal. The construction of an aluminum door is different than wood or metal, so that top door arm is going to be different. Okay. Plus, you would get a finished plate on the top pivot, whereas with an aluminum installation, you don't. Everything else is the same. Fasteners appear to be the same as well. Now, there's another link called Cut Sheet. And that page is really what's going to act as your installation instructions and all your dimensional references. So I've installed this material. I have mortised wood doors for them. I've serviced them. I've replaced them. And it's very... it might be a bit much to look at initially, but when you start to absorb the technical drawing, blow it up, make it look nice and large so you can see all the dimensions, it's really straightforward. Starting at the bottom, you've got the bottom door portion here, and what they're showing you in the cross section in the lower left-hand corner is what that looks like looking at it from the end, where your threshold is literally going to sit over this portion, your half-inch tall threshold, where you're going to drill a hole in it for this portion of the bottom floor pivot portion to come up through. Okay, this from the drawing appears to be butted up to the jamb. Okay, let's look at that a bit closer. Two and 3/4. Yeah, that would be correct. The vertical axis of pivoting, measured from the jamb, is 2 3/4 over to the center line of this for both the reference of the floor portion and the reference to the top door portion. Okay, and when I look at this, from the edge of the plate to the center line of the vertical axis of pivoting, puts me at 2 3/4. Okay, so this will butt up to the jamb itself. That gives you 2 3/4. That is set. Then your door portion, it's got slotted holes in there. That's got holes in it. You're likely replacing an existing pivot, but if you're doing a new installation, all this is really what it's intended for. That ball bearing race is in there. And those 2 portions sit just like this. So after you get your floor portion down, the threshold on, get this attached to the door, and you're halfway there. Okay, so that's going to look like that per the drawing. Now, there's some crucial dimensions here that are fixed. It shows a 3/16 of an inch dimension from the bottom of the door to the top of the threshold. So if you had an undercut, that's an undercut of 13/16. Pardon me, 11/16. That's an undercut of 11/16. You might be working with a different type threshold, your math just has to equal to what that is, because the height of all of this is fixed and non-adjustable. And you can see from the floor in the lower right-hand corner to the bottom of the channel inside the door, that's 2 1/4 inch. So you've got to have 2 1/4 inch from here to here in order for you to accomplish an 11/16 of an inch undercut, of which you'll consume a 1/2 inch of that with a threshold, most likely, or maybe less. Obviously, everything changes if you're doing a wood door in terms of how you go about mortising that, because the depth of the mortise in the wood door, and the hollow metal door for that matter, will be directly related to what undercut you want to achieve. Okay. If you have questions on that, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to go over it with you more in length. Moving up the door, this is the top of the door portion. It will fit into a small inverted channel in the top. Okay, that's literally going to be in the door like this, with that bushing pointed towards the top, and then that walking beam pivot. And here's your beam, and as you take this screw and you turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, you end up drawing the pin out. And as I turn that, you can see where my pin starts to stick out. And I turn that more, if I turn it clockwise, that will draw the pin down and into the nylon bushing in the top of the door portion. And that's how you get it secured in place. So you'll then attach this to the door, keeping in mind that you need to be accomplishing 2 3/4 from the jamb to the vertical center line of this. Same as this, 2 3/4 from the jamb dimension to the vertical center line of the pin, and all that will mate up together. All right. So you'll be able to, once this part is installed in the header as well, when that's turned counterclockwise and drawn back into the housing, you'll be able to take your door and tip it on the bottom pivot and then push it into place. Open the door to, say, 90 degree, and you'll then tighten that, turn that screw clockwise, draw the pin down, and it will engage the top of the door portion. So there's physical dimensions of all of the other components of this, so I won't beleaguer those points here, except to say, and screws are included, even a couple of plastic anchors for the bottom portion, except to say that you really need to accommodate all of the dimensions that are here, especially the 2 3/4 dimension. The 2 3/4 vertical axis of pivoting from the jamb is directly related to the door thickness and that 1/8 of an inch margin between the edge of the door and frame. If any of that changes, then you could have trouble with how the door is going to actually operate. So keep that in mind. Because it's center hung, that door is going to swing in and out, unless there's some auxiliary stop making it only a single acting door. And the logic for doing that is because someone wants the hardware concealed. You don't want to see the door hanging hardware. Jackson, owned by C.R. Lawrence, all of that is synonymous with Panic Device, Jackson branded series pivots and exit device hardware. But C.R. Lawrence has a lot more than just Jackson division material. Their name is really known for aluminum extrusions as it relates to shower door enclosures. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer page where you can pull up the entire catalog and view the Jackson section of what they offer. But keep in mind, they're owned by C.R. Lawrence, and to view their catalog, you would go to the manufacturer section of the website and go to C.R. Lawrence. If you have any questions on the Jackson 670M-628, and it's obviously available in dark bronze as well, as you will see this portion here, or any other Jackson product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.